I want to tell you a story about light, about the sun, not the star up in the sky. No, I mean the card, radiant, golden, and eternal. It speaks of clarity, vitality, and joy, but also of confronting truths that hide in plain sight. This is the story of Mara, a woman whose life was about to unravel, only to be stitched together by the sun's lesson. Mara had always been fine. "How are you?" people would ask.
Fine.
She'd reply with a polite smile. Work, errands, and the same four walls in her lonely apartment until the day it wasn't fine. It started with a message. Her phone buzzed, and there it was. A text from her father, just one short, devastating sentence.
Mara, your mother and I are selling the house.
The house?
The only place that had ever felt like home. Her chest tightened as if her breath had been stolen. She hadn't been back in years, too afraid of facing whatever truths lingered in its sunlit rooms. Memories of laughter, of tears, of the fight she'd had with her parents the day she left. She didn't call them. She couldn't. Instead, she bought a train ticket and went there herself, determined to confront the ghosts of her past. The house stood at the end of a gravel road, golden sunlight streaming through the surrounding oak trees. It was beautiful, but it looked smaller than she remembered. She knocked, and when her father opened the door, his face lit up with an emotion she couldn't quite place. Relief. Maybe.
Mara, you came.
Her mother appeared in the hallway, wringing her hands nervously.
We didn't know if we should call again.
Mara nodded, but said nothing. The silence between them was loud, filled with years of unsaid words.
Come in.
She stepped inside and was hit by the scent of lemon polish and something baking in the oven. Apple pie, her favorite. It was like walking into a time capsule. Every corner of the house radiated warmth, but Mara's heart felt cold. They sat in the living room, her parents avoiding her gaze.
Why are you selling the house?
Her voice sharper than she intended. Her father sighed deeply.
Your mother and I, we're getting older. The upkeep is too much.
And it's just empty now.
Empty? You think selling this house will fill the void? Or is it easier to erase everything?
Her words stung them, but they didn't fight back. They only looked at her with something like sadness, or maybe guilt. That night, Mara couldn't sleep. The bed in her old room was too soft, and the weight of her anger too heavy. She wandered through the house, her bare feet silent on the wooden floors. The moonlight spilled through the windows, bathing everything in an eerie glow. She found herself in the attic, a place she hadn't dared to explore in years. Dust danced in the pale light of her flashlight as she rummaged through boxes of forgotten treasures. Old photo albums, her childhood drawings, a sun-bleached teddy bear. And then she found it, a journal she'd kept as a teenager. She flipped through the pages, cringing at the melodrama of her younger self. But one entry stopped her cold.
Mom and Dad don't understand me. They never will. But today, we sat outside and laughed together. Dad told me that the sun always rises, no matter what. It's a new chance every day. I'll hold on to that.
Tears blurred her vision. She had forgotten that day. She had forgotten the way her father's laugh could lighten even her darkest moods. The next morning, Mara found her parents in the kitchen, drinking coffee in comfortable silence. She sat down at the table, the journal in her hands.
I found this.
Her parents glanced at the journal, then at each other.
I don't want to lose this house.
Her voice cracking.
I don't want to lose you.
Her mother reached across the table, her hand warm and steady.
Mara, you've never lost us. We're here. But we can't hold on to this house forever. It's just a place.
It's more than that. It's where we were happy.
Her father smiled sadly.
And we can be happy anywhere, as long as we have each other.
Her mother nodded, her voice steady despite the emotion in her eyes.
It's like that card I used to have, Mara. The sun. It's not about holding on to old shadows. It's about stepping into the light of what's ahead.
Mara blinked, startled. She had forgotten about her mother's old tarot deck, the way she used to pull cards for fun. But the words lingered, softening the ache in her chest. Mara's tears fell freely now. For the first time in years, she let herself feel it all. The pain, the regret, and the love she had buried so deep. The sun, you see, isn't just about joy. It's about clarity, about seeing life as it is, not as we fear it to be. For Mara, it meant understanding that home wasn't a house. It was her parents' unwavering love. She helped them pack up the house, cherishing each memory as she wrapped it in tissue paper and tucked it into boxes. When the moving truck pulled away, Mara didn't feel sadness. She felt light, warm golden light, filling the space where darkness once lingered. What about you? What truth in your life is waiting to be illuminated by the sun? Is it a relationship you've neglected, a fear you've avoided, or a dream you've convinced yourself is out of reach? Every day brings a chance to face that light and let it guide you forward. It's up to you to decide whether you'll meet its glow head on, ready to grow, or stay in the safety of the shadows. The sun always rises. Will you?